right, look, let's forget about being afraid. Just take the adventure.
Okay, let's do it. There's so many places that they could be.
Marcel The Shell with shoes on.
Whoa!
You are beautiful.
Hello and welcome to the movie podcast review of Marcel The Shell with shoes on. My name is Daniel, and joining me without their shoes on is Anthony.
Hello.
And Shahbaz.
Hello. I was trying to do the Marcel voice.
Is that your Marcel voice?
That was my shell with shoes on voice, but I realized Daniel said I don't have shoes on, so what would my shoes off voice be? I guess this, because technically right now I'm not wearing shoes.
Does that, okay, I was going to say, like, your voice shouldn't change without, unless you're wearing shoes with, like, spikes in them.
Yeah.
I feel like your voice would change.
I feel like I would be dead.
You may also bleed out as well, too.
Yeah.
The movie we are talking about today is Marcel The Shell with shoes on.
Say that 10 times fast.
Marcel The Shell with shoes on, Marcel The Shell with shoes on, Marcel The Shell with shoes on. That's pretty good.
You're doing pretty good,
That's
actually.
pretty good.
You weren't losing. You weren't losing at all.
No, I'm going to quit while I'm ahead.
Yeah.
The name of this character sounds familiar is because this did originate as two YouTube shorts back in the day. It was about 10 years ago that the first Marcel came out, and then we had a follow-up the year after that. And now here we are with an A24 produced film, which is pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. Shay, how are you doing, though? You're all right? You're not wearing shoes, so you're doing okay.
I'm doing good. I was about to sneeze right when you asked, and luckily my hosting skills kicked in and said, I will suppress the sneeze.
Suppress the sneeze, yes.
And now I'm supposed to be bleeding from the outside, right?
That's how it
what happens
goes.
when you hold and sneeze?
That's what happens. Also, what happens when you wear shoes, apparently. I don't know. Anthony, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. This week has been a really busy week. And I think the next couple of weeks are going to be super busy for us. But, interviews, reviews, ton of stuff, ton of content coming down the pipeline.
There's lots. And, we're playing a bit of time traveling with this one. So by the time that you are listening to this review, maybe the world is in a different place right now.
Oh, God, I hope not.
Maybe it's in a better place.
Oh, then good.
Maybe gas prices have come down.
No.
Maybe we've watched Thor: Love and Thunder.
Maybe Spotify purchased us.
Maybe Spotify or Apple Podcasts bought us. We don't know.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That would be pretty cool. I mean, we're ready to sell out, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
we're already like, yeah, just take it. We'll do anything.
Just give us money. We're ready to sell out at this point. We're good. We're happy. But as always, you can catch a brand new episode of the Movie Podcast every single Monday, and watch out throughout the week for review episodes and all the latest movies and series. And also, I want to throw in there reviews and interviews, especially. I threw in reviews already, but I also want to throw in interviews because we've had so many amazing ones over the last few weeks. June has been very, very kind to us with the access that we've been getting for some of these interviews, including starting the month off with Adil and Bilal of Miss Marvel. From there, we've been lucky to talk to the team behind Lightyear, Angus MacLean, Galen Sussman, Michael Giacchino, the animators behind Lightyear, the Canadian animators working at Pixar, and then since then it kind of snowballed, Cooper Rafe, Terry Chen, Aman Vellani of Miss Marvel. We also got to talk to Hayden Christensen and Deborah Chow of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is crazy. Darth Vader was on our show.
That's wild. Like,
D-Vades.
Full circle, man. Like, I can't believe that. I went to go watch that movie in theaters, and here I am interviewing him. 15 years, 20 years. Like, when you think about it, like,
unreal.
But that time, I didn't know anything about podcasts or making.
I'd be impressed if you did, though. It would have been Nostradamus.
Career path. But here I am interviewing Hayden Christensen.
Yeah. Amazing. And then, getting to talk to Deborah Chow, of course, who, directed some of our favorite episodes of The Mandalorian, and then directed Obi-Wan Kenobi, which was a phenomenal series on Disney+. And, we also got to talk to Alan Yang and Matt Hubbard of Loot, which is another one of our favorite shows this year. Just Apple's killing it with their original series this year. It's just, we've been really, really lucky to talk to some pretty incredible people. So please go check out all of the episodes that we have available right now on the Movie Podcast feed, and make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd at The Movie Podcast to see when all of our episodes come out. Drop us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and join our Discord. We're having some great conversations in there. If you want to get in contact with us, there's a couple different ways you could do it. You could send us an email at hello@TheMoviePodcast.ca. You could also subscribe to us on youtube.com/TheMoviePodcast. Check out our show notes for all of those links and more. But today is all about Marcel The Shell with Shoes On. This film is directed by Dean Fleischer-Camp and is releasing on July 1st in Toronto and Vancouver.
Use that second T, huh?
I used the second T. I wanted to make sure that, it was nice and clear that you'd be able to know exactly what I'm talking about. Not like San Torino or anything like this. Toronto and Vancouver. You'll be able to watch this film in limited theaters, so definitely go check it out. And I want to say thank you to our friends at Elevation Pictures for inviting us to review this film. This film is being released by A24. It also stars Jenny Slate, and I'm going to get Shay to tell you all about it.
Marcel is an adorable 1-inch tall shell who ekes out a colorful existence with his grandmother Connie and their pet lint Alan. Once part of a sprawling community of shells, they now live alone as the sole survivors of a mysterious tragedy. However, when a documentary filmmaker discovers them, the short film he posts online brings Marcel millions of passionate fans, as well as unprecedented dangers and a new hope of finding his long-lost family.
I love it. Anthony, take us away on your first reaction.
I really loved this movie. The story alone, 1 inch. Was it 1 inch? Yeah, 1 inch.
1 inch, yeah.
1 inch snail.
6 feet, basically.
6 feet.
My gosh, a giant snail.
Okay.
He's so adorable. So adorable. This film takes place in a live action setting.
Yeah.
Dean Fleischer-Camp utilizes the home in such a way with the shell in creative ways to demonstrate how the shell lives his life day to day, how he gets food, how he enjoys the sun, how he moves around the house in a tennis ball, which is so cute. This movie's so funny, and it's so endearing, and it's innocent, and it's just a great watch. And I don't know, it felt very A24. It felt very it just made me happy. Like everything from it when I was watching it, and me and Shay went to go see it, we just laughed. It was a ton of laughter coming out of us. And it's just, again, it's that innocence that the shell brings to the story, as well as him and his grandmother, just this bond that they have. There's a lot of like subliminal messaging behind it. There's, the loss, the divorce, being alone, being, a shell with shoes, which is so cute. Jenny Slate does a fantastic job with her voice acting and just hitting those markers when it comes to like telling certain elements of the story in which you're supposed to laugh or when you feel really sad. Like she does such a really great job of creating that emotional aspect to the character.
So like you mentioned, Anthony, I didn't get a chance to check this film out with you guys today, but what I did love from seeing the trailer is that it seemed like this is a very friendly film for children to watch, which isn't always the case for A24, but for adults, there is still a lot that adults will fall in love with in this film and be able to see, the bigger themes kind of at play here. And it reminds me a lot of, when we were looking at a game, It Takes Two, right? Shay and I, we played that game last year, and you are these small creatures living in this house, and you're also these dolls, and you're also in a world where a character is dealing with their parents being divorced or getting divorced. So it's interesting seeing those higher themes going on, but there's still like a lot of fun, and there's like on the surface level, just it's a very cute character that you get to spend your time with, right? Shay, how do you feel about this film?
I wasn't too familiar with Marcel The Shell with Shoes On. I had definitely seen the character, but never really done my research further. But I was overwhelmed by this movie. I was so impressed with how funny it really was, how beautiful it was, and not just in its story, but in just how it looks. And Jenny Slate is one of the funniest working in the biz right now. Like she absolutely kills it. I love seeing her performances. She's no stranger to A24. We just saw her this year in Everything Everywhere All at Once as well. So to see her do this role, she, just like Anthony said, she hits her marks. She's absolutely nailing every line that's kind of coming out. And I fell in love with this character. I really, really loved the humanity that this shell kind of brought. There's this, like, I couldn't tell what age the shell was in terms of like, is it a teenager shell? It definitely felt more like a teenager Shell, but a very mature teenager, if anything.
What are Shell years? You know what I mean?
How long do Shells usually last? But I think one of the standouts for me was Marcel's relationship with his grandmother Connie.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Isabella Rossellini.
Exactly, beautiful. Like I think Isabella was so also funny, and I mean I'm a sucker for just physical gags or just reaction based gags, and there's a lot of that in this movie. There's just moments where should I be laughing, should I not be laughing, but you kind of do it anyways, and it still feels good because the movie doesn't make you feel bad for laughing at a sad moment or make you feel bad for laughing at a good moment. It's all about just having a good time, and these characters really take you on this journey of all the misfortune that has occurred in this household. And there is a deeper story that's kind of happening in the background, but the film never weighs itself down. It keeps things light enough while still recognizing that the moments are with some levity or brevity.
There's a self-discovery with his character, because it's he relies on his grandmother a lot. So the story really focuses on him living his current life and then dealing with change with a lot of kids and find it hard to deal with change. Even as an adult, I find it hard to deal with change and how scary it is and it's just like taking that risk and going through it. There is an amazing side to it. There's a strength that you're going to get, and that's what you see from this film. And it's so cute that it's told in a story about the shell. Like, I think this is a great film for kids. It's like Toy Story, I want to say. It's like this fantastic story that showcases elements of life in such a young person's eyes.
We talked about that element when we were driving back home, that this is kind of like Toy Story in the sense that while Toy Story takes the toys that you proudly display that you spend all your money on, so you try your best to keep them at their cleanest, Marcel The Shell with Shoes On really deals with the things that we discard in our life and the things that we don't pay as much attention to and the things that we might take for granted, because there are other characters in this movie that are not all shells. Some are coins, some are like little Cheetos
and
or different
pistachios,
items. Different items.
Spiders.
I don't want to
spiders.
There are spiders. Yes,
little spiders.
That I don't want to spoil, but there's a lot to deal with that. The more common household things you find, but this movie is generally just it's got that kind of comedy that just makes you really laugh in the sense that it's so aware of what it's trying to do. The jokes are right in front of you, and you just get it. The whole theater was howling in this movie, and it was the kind of laugh that it felt like it was coming from a really good place.
What's really interesting about this film, you both mentioned Toy Story. It just from a conceptual level as well too. When I love the fact that this film is taking place in a household, and it's not like it's anything special about the house. It's just that you're seeing things from a perspective that we don't normally get to see. So very much like a movie like Toy Story, where it's from the perspective of these toys, where everything you see how they navigate and they get around the house. I think of Ant-Man, I think of Honey, We Shrunk the Kids. A lot of films in that vein, you get to see just normal looking places, but from a very small perspective. And I think that's so cool because you could tell such unique stories that way. And I love that you both said that there are just other mundane things in this house, things that you get rid of that have a story and they have their own characters and their own personalities. So I'm really excited to watch this. Any other final thoughts on the film before we get to our final recommendations? Shay, start us off with your final recommendation.
This is a watch it. I mean, I absolutely love this movie. I'm definitely going to be thinking about this as time goes on, and I'm sure that somewhere at the end of the year this will land, probably maybe in the top 10, who knows. Yeah. But it was just a great film. Really, I haven't seen a movie like this in a very long time where it just made me feel good. Like, generally, not too heavy, not too happy, not too sad, just everywhere, right there where I felt at my best. And that's what this movie did. And this is great for all ages, whether you're really, really young and you want something cute, or you're an adult like ourselves and you just want some perspective.
Now, just a real quick question before we get to Anthony's final recommendation. Do you think that, for myself, this isn't a film that I'm seeing talked about or like marketed as much as you would? And I get A24 is a little bit different when it comes to their marketing. Do you think audiences know that this is a kid's film, or do you think that people seeing the A24 banner may think, oh, this is something else? Like,
that's kind of what the worry was when I was going to this movie, leaving this film, that the marketing for this film is so kind of everywhere, in the sense that it is A24, so most people don't gravitate to taking their kids to that. But I genuinely believe this film is for all audiences.
Yeah.
And I hope that the marketing can show that. I don't know if it will, but I hope word of mouth at least does that. And our podcast.
Anthony, how about yourself? What is your final recommendation for Marcel The Shell with Shoes On?
This is a definite watch it. The story alone is beautiful and it's cute. Kids will enjoy it. They'll learn something from it. Both parents and kids will learn something from it. This shell is just this little dude. It's just like you just want to watch him all the time and have him tell the story. It's amazing. It's a great film. I don't know what else to say. She said it pretty much.
I love it.
Yeah.
We'll take it from there. We'll definitely go check out Marcel The Shell with Shoes On July 1st if you're in Toronto, in Vancouver. Thank you again, once again, to our friends at Elevation Pictures for inviting us to watch this film. They are the Canadian distributors of it. And then in the States, you'll be able to watch it under A24. That was our review of Marcel The Shell with Shoes On. As always, don't forget you could catch a brand new episode of the Movie Podcast every single Monday. Make sure you check out all of the incredible episodes and reviews that we have out on the feed right now. June's been an amazing month, and we want to make sure you check out all of the great episodes that we have available for you right now. And of course, if you want to support the show, make sure you follow us at The Movie Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd. You could also buy Movie Podcast merch. Check out our show notes below for the links to everything and more. That was This Time with The Movie Podcast, and we'll see you next.